Imagine this. You wake up every single day at a time you didn't choose, go to a building you didn't pick, follow a schedule you didn't design, ask permission to do basic things like use the restroom, and you repeat that for years. Now tell me honestly, how is that not at least a little bit like jail? I mean, at this point, even our school buses look like the ones they use to transport prisoners, which is a lot worse. I'm not saying school is literally jail. Obviously it's not. But when we strip it down into 3 different points, you will understand there are similarities that nobody really talks about. And I think the reason this hits people is because everyone feels it, but most people just accept it, which I think is wrong. So let's break it down properly. The first point is time control. You don't choose when you wake up, you don't choose when you eat, you don't even choose when you leave. Your entire day is already mapped out before you even arrive. Bells decide where you go, where you are, and how you do something at a certain time, not you. The unfortunate part is it's almost the exact same with jail systems. You're placed into a structured routine you don't get to control. You're going either to the courtyard to work out or sleep at a certain time. And the biggest part is how strict it is. If you're late even by a few minutes, it matters. You can get a penalty and end up going to summer school just because you were late a few times to a class. You don't get to say, I'll do it later, or give me a minute to use the restroom. The schedule runs you, not the other way around. It's efficient at times, but mostly just controlled. Want to use the bathroom? You have to ask. Want to leave the class? Ask. Even small things like talking needs permission, and when you get caught talking for just 1 second, the teacher is just magically right behind you, just listening. Maybe even saying something like anything you would like to share with the class. That can be a form of guilt tripping and embarrassment, especially when the whole class goes quiet. Again, this isn't about blaming teachers, it's about how they work and what we do. But think about it. Outside of school, you don't normally need permission to do basic stuff like that. You can talk and speak your mind almost anywhere you would like. You don't have to ask to use the restroom, you just do it. You do the things you want to, when you want to, without the control of having to listen to the lesson. Because I feel like these teachers could just tell the singular student what they talked about when they got back or after they were done talking. Simple fix on their part. Another similarity people point out is the social environment. You're placed with hundreds of people your age, whether you get along with them or not. And just like any confined environment, you'll get conflict. Bullying, arguments, drama. Most of the time it's manageable, but it still exists because you can't choose your environment at all. You're assigned to it. You don't get to choose. In real life, you can just quit your job, even though it may not be the best option. It still is an option. Where I live, you're required to be in school whether you like it or not. You're required to be in an environment where if you don't have friends, then someone's going to force it on you. Because when you have no one, real life won't just throw you at someone. You make the opportunity. In school, teachers throw a class project and you're required to work with someone you never knew or talked to. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, if you don't like the person or they don't do their work, it's your fault too. It doesn't even matter if they are a bad person. You just have to sit there and hope for the best that you don't crash out, which sucks. But it goes deeper than that, because when you spend years in a system where everything is decided for you, when to move, when to talk, when to think, you don't just follow it, you start to depend on it. And that's where things get dangerous. Because real life doesn't work like that. No one is ringing a bell telling you when to start your goals. No one is telling you to be productive. No one is assigning you a path. You either take control or nothing happens. And a lot of people never adjust. They leave school and suddenly realize they don't know how to manage their own time. They don't know how to think for themselves, and they don't know how to create structure without someone else doing it for them. So they look at another system to follow. A job they hate. A routine they didn't choose. A life that just repeats. And yeah, school didn't force that outcome, but it most definitely didn't prepare them to avoid it either. Now let me be clear, this isn't me saying school is bad. School teaches you things, it builds discipline, it gives you opportunities, but it also trains you in ways if people don't question. And if you're not aware of that, you end up living on autopilot. So the real point isn't school is jail, it's this. Don't let any system think for you. Learn what you need to learn. Play the game if you have to, but don't lose the ability to question it. Don't lose the ability to think independently. Because here's the part no one tells you. Independence isn't something you magically gain when you graduate. It's something you either practiced or completely ignored. And if you ignore it long enough, you won't suddenly become independent. You just become someone waiting for the next set of instructions. Think about it. How many people finish school and immediately start asking, what do I do next? What's the right path? They're still waiting for another system, another schedule, another person to tell them what's correct. And that's not entirely their fault. For years, they were rewarded for following instructions, not thinking differently. You get good grades for doing what you're told. You get in trouble for stepping out of line. You get praise for memorizing, not questioning. So of course, people grow up thinking, just tell me what works and I'll do it. But that mindset only works inside the system and completely fails outside of it. Because real success doesn't come from following a path, it comes from creating one. And that's uncomfortable. There's no bell telling you when to start, no teacher telling you if you're doing it right, no guarantee it's even going to work. That's why most people avoid it. Not because they're lazy, but because they've never been trained to operate without structure. So they go back to what feels safe. A routine, a job, a system, even if they hate it. Now listen, this is where you have a choice. You can go through school like everyone else, follow the schedule, wait for the next step. Or you can start building something on the side. Something small. Something messy. Something that's actually yours. Because you don't need permission to think differently. You don't need permission to learn skills that matter to you. You don't need permission to try and fail. That's what builds real independence, not just sitting in a classroom waiting for the bell to ring. And I'm not just saying ignore school. That would be stupid. Use the system. Don't let it use you. Get what you need from it, but don't let it define what you're capable of. Because the people who break out of the cycle aren't the ones who are bad. They're the ones who understand the system. And then build beyond it. So ask yourself, when this is all over, when there's no schedule, no teacher, no one telling you what to do, are you going to be ready? Or are you going to be lost? Because the moment comes for everyone. And when it does, you either take control or you start looking for another cage that feels comfortable. So yeah, school isn't jail, but if you're not careful, it can train you to live like you're still in one. So break that early. Think for yourself. Build something real. And don't wait. Because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. So I'll ask again. Are you going to follow the system or build something outside of it? Subscribe if you're trying to think differently and tell me, what would you change?